you ever imagined you can fast track your fluency with easy to spot Spanish cognates with something as simple as the 2024 US election coverage? In today's video, we're diving deep into the 2024 US presidential election to show how it can actually boost your Spanish vocabulary. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand some important election terms in Spanish, but you'll also feel super confident speaking about big topics like democracy or president. First off, let's quickly review what a cognate is. Cognates are words in two languages that share a similar origin, meaning they often look and sound the same or really close to it. This makes them super easy for language learners to recognize, and perhaps the best place to start after learning los sonidos iniciales y el alfabeto en español. Think of it like this. It's kind of like when you see logos or emblems and can instantly identify what company they belong to. And what's awesome is that Spanish and English have tons of them, especially when it comes to politics. Why? Well, both languages borrow a lot of political terminology from Latin or Latin. So when you heard democracy on election night, you've already basically got the Spanish word down without breaking a sweat. Now, let's dive into some specific examples you probably heard during the election season. You'll be surprised how much Spanish you picked up just by following the news. Primero, tenemos la palabra nación. In both English and Spanish, we talk about nations, or in español, naciones. Both words come from the Latin natio, so it's easy to see the connection. You've just learned your first political cognate. Coming in at number 2, tenemos la próxima palabra, democracia. This one's a no-brainer, right? Democracia looks just like democracy, and it means the same thing. And guess what? Words like democratic and democrat also have Spanish equivalents that are just as easy. Democrático and democrata. During election coverage, you've heard a lot about the president. Coming in at number 3, in español, the word for president is presidente, and in some cases, some people use presidenta for women, which they both are almost identical to the English word. Let me know in the comments below if you can identify the cognate for presidencia. Coming in at number 4, whether you're watching a debate or reading election news, you'll hear the word candidate. And in español, it's candidato o candidata para las mujeres. Almost the same word in English. Coming in at number 5, this one's really easy, both in English and Spanish. Election comes from the Latin electio. In español, decimos elección. The only difference, a slight change in spelling and an accent mark. Coming in at number 6, both languages share the word constitución, from Latin constitutio. So when you hear talk about los derechos constitucionales, you can quickly gather what is being discussed. If you know, let me know in the comment section below. Now, before we finish out our 10 election Spanish cognates, let's break down a real life example. To help these words really stick, let's break down a sentence that you might hear during election coverage and show how much you already know in Spanish. En la próxima elección, los candidatos discutirán la democracia y la constitución de la nación. En la próxima elección, los candidatos discutirán la democracia y la constitución de la nación. Ahora en inglés. In the next election, the candidates will discuss democracy and the constitution of the nation. See how easy that was? Most of the words are cognates, which mean you already have a head start in understanding Spanish. By recognizing these similarities, you're building your political Spanish vocabulary faster than you think. Continuing with número 7, tenemos la palabra coalición, which refers to an alliance often used in political context to describe parties joining forces, just like in English. Coming in at número 8, during election seasons, politicians often discuss reforms or reformas in español, whether in healthcare, education, or other areas. Coming in at number 9, tenemos debate. This one's exactly the same in both languages. Presidential and candidate debates are crucial in elections, and in Spanish, it's still spelled like debate. As we land the plane, I struggled with which word I would provide para el último cognado, mainly because some of the remaining options are what many would consider a near-perfect cognate. In other words, these are words that have the same meaning and etymology, but are written slightly differently. So ultimately, I chose an action word. In other words, a verb that you could use with questions or statement. And that word is votar. Antes, durante, Y después de las elecciones, todo el mundo habla de la importancia de votar. Before, during, and after elections, everyone talks about the importance of voting. Both words share the same root, meaning they are almost identical in each language. So let's break down another real-life example, usando el verbo votar. I'll read it once without the phrase on the screen, and then again with the phrase on the screen. En la elección presidencial de 2020, 81 millones de personas votaron por Joe Biden. Y en la elección presidencial de 2024, 66 millones de personas votaron por Kamala Harris. En la elección presidencial de 2020, 81 millones de personas votaron por Joe Biden. Y en la elección presidencial de 2024, 66 millones de personas votaron por Kamala Harris. So now that we've uncovered some key election-related cognates, it's your turn. Let me know in the comments what political cognate surprised you the most. And try creating a sentence with at least 2 of the words that we talked about here today. Look at how much Spanish you've already learned just by following the US election coverage. Cognates make learning a new language easier than you think. So next time you're watching the news or scrolling through social media, pay attention to those words that look familiar. They are probably cognates. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to hit that like button if you boosted your Spanish vocabulary today. And be sure to subscribe so that you can continue finding more fun ways to expand your vocabulary. Now, most importantly, if you're not sure where to go in your Spanish language journey next, click on this video right here that was selected specifically for you, and I'll see you over there. Nos vemos.